what they've done and what they continue to do.
Chiefs 35, Titans 24. Austin Ryder snaps to Mahomes, and a knee. He goes to a knee and a backflip by Demarcus Robinson. That is going to do it. 50 years of waiting.
Chiefs kingdom is special.
And the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. 50 years. 50 years.
Richard Sherman. Mahomes throws, pass caught. Williams, touchdown. Kansas City jumps up. Touchdown, Kansas City.
It's coming. Mahomes gets away, puts his eyes downfield and fires and completes it to Kelsey. What else is new? And Kelsey with blocking inside the 20, rumbling inside the 10. Look at this.
Kansas City.
Crazy.
Touchdown, Kansas City. Touchdown, Kansas.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Jaymes Howell Chiefs Talk. Look, before we get started into the show, I just want to ask everyone a quick favor. First and most importantly, go hit that share button. It takes 5 seconds to do. It's completely free. So please help us build this legendary community by getting it out there to fellow Chiefs fans. Also, if you end up liking the content, go ahead and follow. If you're on YouTube, smash that notification bell. That way you can keep up with any content that I dropped. Alright, now that we got that done with, let's jump into the show. What is going on, everyone? And I hope we are having a fantastic night. Hey, for the first time all season long, I get to say welcome to Victory Monday, Victory Tuesday, Victory Wednesday, and it'd be back-to-back consecutive weeks. Hey, how you doing, buddy? How you feeling about it?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I like Victory Wednesdays too. So
yeah, whatever day this is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get back-to-back wins. We got Big Macs for sacks. You know, all the goodies. It was a good week for the most part. And before we get into that, look, don't forget to follow us. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Right now, it takes 5 seconds to do. Hit that share button. If you do want to follow us, you can find me on Facebook. I am right there at Jaymes Howell 1. I'm also on Twitter and on YouTube at Jaymes Howell Sports. If you want to find my buddy Chase here, when he's not on this legendary podcast, he's an insurance agent. So if you need insurance, go check him out. Here is his LinkedIn profile. You can also find him on Facebook here at C. Riley Sports, and then on Twitter at C. Riley Sports. All right. So I want to start with the most exciting aspect of the entire game, and that was the special teams. Congratulations to Tommy Townsend. He won the special teams, AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, and rightfully so. He was bombing them. So what do you have? He had 63, a 62, and then like a 57. But more importantly, two within the 10-yard line, one within the 20 on top of that, and then the special teams on the field goal unit coming up with a huge block. What do you think of our special teams this week, Beth?
they were, like I said, they were the highlight of the game between offense, defense, and the special teams. special teams has kind of been our saving grace this year. We don't question those guys a whole lot, and rightfully so. Harrison Butker is pretty clutch, and Tommy Townsend has worked out pretty well for us at punter since moving on.
Yeah, how dare me not mention Harrison Butker? He nailed that 55-yarder.
Yeah,
I mean, clutch. And since Dave Tobe has been here in Kansas City, he has definitely had his hands on the roster to some extent, and they prioritize special teams. And I'm confident that without the special teams this past week, we don't win this game. We don't win against Green Bay, even though Aaron Rodgers is out. Without the field position, without the blocked field goals, we got lucky that he missed one. But still, without these plays, I don't think we win.
Yeah. No, I mean, we don't. I mean, Harrison Butker had a 24-yard field goal and he had a 55-yard field goal. That's 6 of those points. So, without Harrison Butker, that game goes to overtime.
Yeah, which is disgusting in itself, and we'll definitely talk about that here in a few. Before we go any further, let's hit the comment threads. Connie Byatt, Mama Bear, of course, she in the house, and of course she's shared. Thank you. She says, personally, I think those special teams are pretty special. Nice little pun, nice little play on words there. Hey, appreciate each and every single one of you that come out and watch us. Feel free to hit that comment thread, put in your input. We will show your comments on the show. If you have a question, we would love to answer it. If you just want to tell us how silly we look or how stupid we sound, feel free. Just be respectful along the way. Anyways, let's talk about the offense first. I mean, second after the special teams. And more specifically, the big topic, right? It's Patrick Mahomes. And if you could pinpoint it, what is it?
I can't. Like you and I were talking, the two things we hope, or the two things that are looking pretty obvious. One, he's hiding an injury. Or two, which has kind of been my worst nightmare. I've actually laughed it off all year long. Was people asking, has the league finally figured out Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
I mean, was he a 3-year trick pony?
Well, and that's the thing. Look, every quarterback goes through their slumps, and Tom Brady goes through his slumps. I mean, it doesn't seem like it with how incredible he plays as of recently, especially. But every quarterback goes through their slumps. Aaron Rodgers does. Tom Brady does. Drew Brees did. Peyton Manning did. They all did. And it's how you respond to it. And what I see from Patrick Mahomes is a lot of frustration. And that tells me that he cares. He cares. And it's not like he's out here just not trying. Something's going wrong. I'm the same with you. I can't quite pinpoint it. I have a couple different theories. One of them being that they're impatient. They're impatient. I think that they need to have that 40-yard play, that deep bomb, in order to create that spark. And without it, they're just lackluster. They're dull. They're just not exciting, and they don't have that threat. They're not a threat to people or to defenses. The thing is, for me, is I do think that it's gonna turn around. And I know it's week 10, and it is what it is, but I do think it's going to turn around. And I think that last play that everyone's talking about, the one that was vintage Mahomes. I think that was the beginning of it.
Well, you know, and like I said, you and I'm hoping the same, and you know, because lackluster is an understatement.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes threw for 1 touchdown. That's it.
Yeah.
Against a defense that's, you know, they're not horrible. They're not a pushover, but they're not great either.
Yeah.
You know, the Green Bay defense is middle of the line. And, you know, for 1 yard pass to Travis Kelce, you know, I'm not complaining about it. A touchdown's a touchdown, but just, you know, from us looking at Mahomes and talking about Mahomes, that's not normal for him.
Yeah. And the 1 touchdown that we did see from him came on the first drive. And of course, we all know that those are scripted plays.
Yeah.
So is it a matter of execution? I don't think so, because they took those scripted plays and they went down 15 plays in a row and scored a touchdown. I think it's a matter of play calling from that point on. You know, and then the lack of opportunities to try to take those deep shots is hindering them. And that's when we see the turnovers from, you know, passes trying to be forced. I think in order to try to fix this, we're going to have to, or Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be more patient. I think that's what it boils down to, is if he's more patient and he could just take what the defense gives him, which is so cliche to say, but it's right there. We seen the deep pass to McCole Hardman, and right in front of McCole Hardman, about 10, 15 yards down the field, is Travis Kelce, and he's wide open.
Yep.
And Mahomes said in the press conference that he saw Kelce, but wanted to take the shot down the field.
Yep.
You can't do that. You can't do that when this is what they're giving you. With the name of the game is take what the defense gives you. So I think it boils down to patience. If we can get our boy to be a little bit more patient, you know, and just grind it out, get the running game going. You know?
Yeah, you know, being patient and taking those baby steps, you know, to back to the normalcy that we know that this offense does. You know,
Yeah.
let them run the ball, let them run some play action, you know, some 8 to 15 yard plays down the field, and then let him get that consistency back, and then boom.
What do you guys think of AEW? Here, check it out. Joshua Elliott. Looks like you guys need a question, so here it is. What do you guys think of AEW Dynamite so far tonight?
Man, I got that on my DVR. I'm gonna watch it right after this podcast, man.
Yeah, I can't say that I have it on right now. I know that it'll be on when I get back to the house, when I get home, and it will also be on DVR. And I will also get to watch it later. Probably not tonight, though. And then Connie Byatt, baby must be keeping him up late. Maybe he is tired. You know, and that's a possibility. But, you know, with $500 million, go get you a damn nanny. I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. My biggest question is, where the heck was Derek Gore?
I don't know, man. You know, he like we were talking before, he had a fantastic first half last week, or the week before last. And then in the second half, he was kind of, you know, nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's nowhere to be found in this game either.
Yeah. So, you know, was there Was there an injury or that maybe we didn't hear of? Maybe I just don't understand why we are so reluctant to play, why our coaching staff there in Kansas City is so reluctant to play upcoming talent. Because it seems to me that he proved that he deserves some reps. And now with Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, the news that he's eligible to come back, you wonder what's going to happen with Derek Gore. And I'd hate to see him shoved down to the bottom of the depth chart because that he just looks incredibly talented. I mean, he looks good up there. Good vision, good patience, good awareness. His cuts, his blocking, it's all phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't want to see Derek Gore get left behind. When Hilaire comes back, especially for McKinnon, who I like McKinnon, but I don't feel like McKinnon is going to be as explosive in this offense as Gore is. If you go back to the Giants game, I know you and I didn't touch too much on that game, but for Gore and Williams, they split carries. Gore had 11 attempts, Williams had 13. And
I think that's a good balance.
Yeah, it's a great balance.
And I just don't know, to your point about like Jerick McKinnon and Derek Gore, who stays on the roster. I think that's going to come down to, and I don't think it should, but I think it is going to come down to who contributes more on special teams.
Yep.
And I disagree with it. I think Derek Gore deserves a spot on this roster. And if maybe, with injuries, other areas, I don't think it's going to happen. But if maybe they could figure out a way to keep all of them on the roster, on the active roster, that would be good. As far as Clyde Edwards-Hilaire goes, does he come back and just take over? Or is it going to be kind of like the split between we saw between Darrell Williams and Derek Gore, but with Clyde Edwards-Hilaire and Darrell Williams?
I think I'm hoping that they'll split carries between the two. I think that's the route they'll go. I don't think they want to put all the load on Clyde. Number one, because of the injury. Number two, because of ball management skills. So hopefully when Clyde Edwards-Hilaire comes back, they'll be able to, juggle him and Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the wide receiver core. And more specifically, Odell Beckham Jr. What is the chances that he ends up in Kansas City? And do you agree with it, or what's your thoughts on that?
I think that Kansas City would be happy to have another playmaker another playmaker for Patrick. Do I like the Odell signing? As long as it's not going to cost us anything, and it was kind of like a Le'Veon Bell thing last year where we just signed him, just to kind of help us get that push. Hey, fantastic. And hopefully as Mahomes starts coming back into rhythm and spreading the ball out more, Odell will be a nice option for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Odell Beckham has a nice little skill set. Do I agree with, the fact that he's a virus in the Giants locker room and in the Cleveland locker room? Yeah, he was. He was not a good player to have for a good locker room presence, and he's proven that over and over again. Now, with that said, I'm not looking to sign Odell Beckham to a multi-year deal. It just doesn't happen. One, he's a virus to the locker room. He's going to get a prove-it kind of deal wherever he goes. And two, it's a mid-season cut. Those kind of guys don't usually get multi-year deals after they get cut mid-season. It just doesn't happen that way. So if the goal is let's try to bolster this offense, get some more weapons in here to try to make a push for the Super Bowl for this year, I'm absolutely down with it. I'm 100% down with it because I mean, Josh Gordon's not working out. It's not. What's your thoughts on Josh Gordon? Why is it? What's the deal?
Did your audio go?
You there?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you cut out.
I said, what's the deal with Josh Gordon? Why isn't he seeing time? Is it him or is it the coaching staff?
I'm not 100% sure. I'll tell you that this one target per game it is not working out for him. And I know Reed said something about him, learning the playbook and whatnot. I just don't know if I buy it. And there was a couple throws in the Giants game. I remember sitting there watching, and I'm watching Josh Gordon go to the sideline, and he's open. And Mahomes tries to push it down the field to Tyreek or Kelsey. I can't remember which. But if you go back and watch the Giants game, you'll see there was a couple of times where Gordon was available. Was he available for the deep ball? No, but he was available.
Well, I will say he's gotten, since his time here, he's gotten 20% of snaps, of the offensive snaps. And then after this last game, he went to Twitter himself on his account and saying that it was a great team win, but that he needs to do better. And so I think that they're trying to get him involved, but he's not really meeting expectations. And he knows that.
Yeah.
He knows that. He knows that he has to do better. And I don't and I'm not saying that he wasn't open, because there were plays that he was open. But because he's not really excelling in practice and not showing it consistently, I don't think Mahomes can trust him yet. And so he's getting overlooked. And so I think that's the deal with Josh Gordon. I don't think it's I hear a lot of fans going, well, they need to play him again. He's getting 20% of the offensive snaps, through his time here. It's him. He's not performing. And whether it's the offense, maybe he doesn't know the offense well enough yet. I don't know. Whatever reason is, he's not performing. So I think that Odell Beckham Jr. would be a fantastic acquisition, with the Josh Gordon experiment kind of going under. I guess we'll just jump on over to the defensive side, huh? Because I'm kind of excited to talk about it. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the offense before we leave?
I don't have anything. Like I said, we covered all the bases. As soon as Mahomes gets out of this funk that he's in, that they've got so many great weapons for him to use.
Yeah. And I think it's just a matter. It's like Aaron Rodgers said, it could be a couple games. It could be a couple plays. It could be one throw. And it'll change the whole trajectory of your season. And I'm hoping that one throw was the last throw of the game.
Yep.
Because it did look like vintage Mahomes. And, so I'm kind of excited, but I'm not. From what we've seen so far and being realistic and trying to be non-biased, because I am a Chiefs fan. And so when I do this, I have to be non-biased. I'm not optimistic about it. Just not. I see the potential is there, but I'm not real crazy optimistic about it. So, but what I am optimistic about is the defense. And the defense, and now I'm a defensive guy. I've always loved the defense. And I know they didn't have Rodgers out there, and that's okay. It's the NFL. It doesn't matter. Yes, Rodgers would have made a difference. Yes, Rodgers probably would have hung up at least 20 points on us. There was a lot of throws that Jordan Love did not make that Rodgers probably would have. Probably. There's no saying that there's no guarantee that he would. But besides all that, the defense just, man, it looks like they're playing like madmen out there. They're so fast, and I don't know if it's just the play call from Steve Spagnuolo getting a little bit more aggressive. We've seen a lot of blitzes, and that might be to mask deficiencies. Dan Sorensen. So what was your overall take on the defense before we dive into each position?
Well, the defense performed amazing. Like I said, the special teams, I think took the game because I think they won us the game. But defense coming closer and closer to where they've been. It's L'Jarius Sneed had that awesome interception. Tyrann Mathieu is playing like Tyrann Mathieu. I'm pretty sure he hit Jordan Love once or twice.
He definitely got one sack for sure. One sack.
Melvin Ingram, who we haven't talked about, who came in and now he's I think he had a couple of tackles, one assist. But he's already making an impact.
First play of the game. First play of the game, he comes in there and he's in Jordan Love's face.
Yep.
I was like, come on, Melvin.
Now, to kind of backpedal myself a little bit, I was a little frustrated that Nick Bolton's time on the field was cut a little short, or was cut a little bit because Anthony Hitchens is back. I'm not big on Anthony Hitchens. I think he's overpaid for what he produces. So, but again, the defense where we were a few weeks ago has made a tremendous, tremendous stride.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we'll go ahead and start with the linebackers since you brought up Nick Bolton and all that. And so in the Giants game, Nick Bolton gets 86% of the snaps. In the Green Bay game, it drops down to like 40 something percent. It literally gets cut in half. And I think that's a huge mistake on Steve Spagnuolo's part. And once again, like I said, I don't understand what it is with this team and their unwillingness to play upcoming talent. But it will, Ben Neiman, the likes of Ben Neiman, Anthony Hitchens, Daniel Sorensen, we've got guys to replace them.
Yep.
And they need to be utilized.
Absolutely.
So we kind of talked about this before the show. So the Chiefs run a 4-3. Yep. And so there's no reason why Nick Bolton, Anthony Hitchens, and Willie Gay Jr. can't be on the field at the same time. The problem is that we run the nickel like 60% of our plays or something like that, like a large amount of plays we run the nickel from the nickel package. And when that happens, we're seeing one of our young guns getting taken off the field.
That's right.
And we're even seeing Willie Gay Jr. lose time to Ben Neiman, in the base package.
And nobody should be losing time to Ben Neiman.
It's unacceptable. These are the same things that got Bob Sutton fired. You play to your players' strengths. You play to the personnel's strength. And you're not putting the correct guys in the correct places. And I kind of agree with what you were saying earlier about Steve Spagnuolo. I'm not a big fan of him, and all the stuff that he's done. Like, I was a supporter up until this year, but all this crazy stuff he's done, the Chris Jones experiment, the refusal to move Daniel Sorensen, us continuously getting beat by Ben Neiman. And then just not doing anything about it when we have players there that are clearly performing better. It's nonsense, and it's slowly but surely grinding my gears.
I agree, man. Like I said, I voiced it before we started the show, and I think there was a lot of talent out there when we hired Spagnuolo. And I was very disappointed that they went with the option of Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
I like Spagnuolo's blitz packages. Those are cool, but I'm looking for a coordinator that's got a whole scheme. And other than nickel and blitz, nickel blitz packages, Spagnuolo doesn't stand out to me. He hasn't. Now, granted, we won a Super Bowl with him as defensive coordinator, but the defense didn't win that Super Bowl. So I'll argue that all day.
Well, let me ask you this. Who would you have brought in instead of Steve Spagnuolo?
Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles. Yep. Todd Bowles was the head coach of the New York Jets. When he was terminated, he comes from the Andy Reid coaching tree. He actually is very close to Andy Reid. So I thought that was an obvious choice for the Chiefs to reach out and make that call to Todd Bowles. They didn't, and Todd Bowles went and signed with Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay and went on to win a Super Bowl against us. Yeah. So
it shut down one of the most prolific offenses the NFL's ever seen.
Absolutely, and there wasn't a play that defense was on the field that they weren't in Patrick Mahomes' face, and like you said, shut him down. So I was very very vocal about the Chiefs going after Todd Bowles. Like I said, obviously they didn't. We can talk about what ifs all day, but I'm 1,000% confident that would have been the better choice for this team than Steve Spagnuolo. But we got stuck with Steve Spagnuolo. Did go to a Super Bowl. I don't think he gets much of the credit for that, or he shouldn't. But this defense, they've got a lot of great talent, and there's no reason why this defense shouldn't be better rated.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Absolutely, man. I mean, we've got so much talent on the defense between Melvin Ingram, and Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Tyrann Mathieu, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay Jr. And I know these guys aren't established on the national scene, the linebackers yet, but we see it here in Kansas City. They're incredibly talented. L'Jarius Sneed, Juan Thornhill, everyone. There's so much talent on paper. There's no reason why we should be starting the season like we did. Now, I did make a video, and that I'll be posting on my page a little bit later, talking about the defense, and I think that the defense is kind of turning in the right direction. They're allowing just 16 points since week 5, starting in week 6, 7, 8, and 9, 16 points a game. I know we had that nasty little Tennessee game in there, but even then we shut them out for a half. So I think that if we're looking at trends, this defense is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seems to be the case every year under Steve Spagnuolo. About this time, mid-season, we start trending.
Yep.
So, speaking of Melvin Ingram, like we said, he comes in, right, and immediately makes his impact known. Comes in there right in Jordan Love's face, right off the left side, which I thought was kind of shocking because usually Frank Clark plays on the left side. And so I thought that Melvin would play more on the right, but that's, how it worked out. Didn't really matter, I guess. I guess they probably wanted to make him more comfortable, as comfortable as possible. But so now we've got Melvin Ingram, we've got Mike Dana, we've got Chris Jones, and we've got Frank Clark. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, as long as Melvin Ingram, lives up to the player that Melvin Ingram should live up to. This isn't Pittsburgh. We're not a bloated defensive line. He's going to get his snap count and he's going to play. And as long as he plays up to his potential, that's a scary front four.
Yeah, and I think the most important part is Melvin Ingram, because that ability to play that edge and give us a higher caliber player than an Alex Okafor, I think that allows Chris Jones to permanently kick back inside the defensive tackle. And he's proven, and even this last game, he had a pretty good game. He didn't get no sacks, but he was constantly in the backfield. Now, speaking of Chris Jones, he's kind of having a little bit of a down year. You think that's just he does have an ankle or a wrist injury? Come to find out, there's like some torn ligaments in his wrist or something like that. That's why he had to take a couple weeks off. You think it's because of his wrist injury? You think it's because of his injuries, or do you think it's because of Steve Spagnuolo's craziness is why Chris Jones is having a bad year? I mean, a down year.
I think it's probably the injury. I don't think Steve Spagnuolo's craziness would affect him too much, just because Chris Jones had to look comfortable there, had to show something for Steve to go, okay, we're going to go with this idea and we're going to see if it works. So I don't think, and I think in a weird world, Chris Jones might work out at defensive end. I don't think it's working out right now. So I think that's why they pushed it out, because, I have all the confidence in the world that Chris Jones could, sit on the edge and rush, but he needs a little bit more than a year to do it. And when this team has done what they've done, with Chris Jones on the inside, it just seemed like a no-brainer decision to move him back in.
Yeah. Well, I said a couple weeks ago, I think that the whole experiment that Chris Jones being outside on that edge would provide valuable experience. And maybe later on, if someone goes down and they need a guy to be able to move the edge, Chris Jones can be that guy. And with the athletic ability that he has, he is going to be above average. So, with that experience, it provides a lot of quality depth. And I thought the experiment in itself, as crazy as it was, and as much as it didn't really work out, I still think it was pretty valuable. I think it was pretty valuable in the long run.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, guys. Hey, look, if you guys are listening in or you guys are watching in right now, feel free to post a comment into the comment thread. We love to get you on here and, hear what you guys think. Ask us questions. We love to get the community involved. So if you are here watching with us now, hit that comment thread, hit that like button, hit that share button, and go make sure that you follow. So to move on past the defensive line. Oh, before we do that, Frank Clark, is he back? I mean, is this the Frank Clark? It looks like this is the Frank Clark we've seen in Seattle. Is he back, or is this like just a flash in the pan?
I would consider, saying that he's back to what, maybe back to the Frank Clark we saw at the end of 2019.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Frank Clark in Seattle. I don't know if the Frank Clark in Seattle is even alive. I think he's I think he got lost somewhere in the Grand Canyon between here and Seattle. That guy's dead. He's locked in somebody's basement. But the Frank Clark of 2019 might be back, and I'm okay with that.
I just think that he looks incredibly explosive off the ball.
He does,
and he looks healthy. I mean, he's not limping around. He's not, and he looks healthy. And moving forward, I think it just gets better, which is exciting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The only way to go is up from here. So,
yeah. Because okay, so now let me ask you this: is there a way? Because I'm pretty sure you're on the same train as I am. I'm on the get the Frank Clark out of here train. Is there a way from now to the end of the season that he works his way into another deal?
I could see that. I think that we've talked about on this podcast before, and I've shared it. When Veach very first took over general manager, the famous saying for Brett Veach was, Veach always gets his guy, and Frank Clark is a Veach guy. So I think, I'll be confident enough to say yes. If Frank Clark turns it around this year, I could see him getting another deal.
I think, I don't want to see it happen, but if he can continue to play like he has the past 3-4 games for the rest of the season, I can see it happening too. And I'm not saying that I think it's going to be a big multi-year, long-term deal, 5-6 years or anything like that. But do we give him another 1 or 2 years as like a stopgap? I think so.
Yeah, I could see that. He's gonna get older. Like I said, I mean, if this is Frank Clark from 2019, I don't know if they give him that big. I don't know if they give him a contract. If what you're talking about, if this is Frank Clark from Seattle, I could definitely see him and Veach sitting down. And why not? Who cares? I mean, if he's
it's not going to be as prolific.
Yeah, if he turns into the Frank Clark that we saw in Seattle, yeah, absolutely. Let's get him a contract. Let's keep him here. Why lose him? But do I see him being the Frank Clark of Seattle? Maybe not. Like I said, I see more of him being the Frank Clark from 2019, and maybe that guy gets a contract. Maybe he doesn't. We'll see. Yeah,
I mean, like I said, if it is, it's only for a couple years. I don't think there's any way. And also, another factor that we have to look at here is the legal issues and what comes of these legal issues, because like we talked about before, legal issues take time to develop and to play out. And we're not going to know anything about any of his legal issues until the off season. And so if there's impending suspensions from the NFL, if we know that he's going to miss 6 games or whatever, all these things could factor in. Stitchamania, hey buddy, I appreciate you showing up tonight and watching us. Go ahead and hit that share button for us. He wants to say we get rid of Daniel Sorensen and Ben Neiman, our defense automatically gets better. Hey, look, I agree. The problem is who replaces them, because look, there's times that we can't avoid having Daniel Sorensen on the field. the only other person we could have is Armani Watts, and they feel confident that Daniel Sorensen is better. I don't agree, but they feel confident that Daniel Sorensen is better than Armani Watts. There's just not there's Daniel Sorensen, Armani Watts, Juan Thornhill, and Tyrann Mathieu, right? So those plays that we run, 3 safeties, cover 3s or even cover 4s, we don't have anyone else. And unfortunately, it was like, what was the wide receiver from Green Bay? One of the wide receivers from Green Bay was on the video and said basically that they know that 49 is a liability. They're attacking 49. And so, if we can get them off the field, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Who do we put there? There ain't no one there.
Exactly.
And then as far as Ben Niemann, I agree completely. I don't think he should ever see the field. It's special teams, relegated to special teams only.
Well, he shouldn't be taking playing time from anybody. I mean, if we pull backups in, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hunter Henderson, I think that is a no to Frank Clark. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a no. He does not think that Frank Clark is going to be here or get an extra deal, get another deal, whether it be a stopgap or not. Derek Stitch says the money has to be right. If we get him for the right price, that's what it boils down to. If everyone has the option to be extended, it's the question on, is Frank Clark going to be willing to sign for the level of production that he's given us, or is he going to want another big payday? I mean, because we can always sign anyone again. It's just if the money's right. So yeah, I absolutely agree. And the money can't be even half of what he makes now. It's got to be somewhere in like maybe the 12 million a year, 10 million, 9 million a year mark.
Like you said, everybody's re-signable if the money's right. I'll take Anthony Hitchens still if the money's right, but we pay that guy way too much money.
He's the most expensive backup that's ever been in Kansas City. He's only talented enough to be a backup. I'm not gonna say he's terrible because he's not. He's not terrible. But like the linebacker core of Bolton, Hitchens, and Willie Gay Jr., that's solid.
Yeah.
But is he talented enough in this stage in his career to be replacing Nick Bolton? I don't think so. I don't give a shit what kind of communication he has and how good he is at communicating. I think Nick Bolton did a way better job. So, and I don't think that it's justified that Bolton's snap count got cut in half.
No, not at all.
Hunter Henderson, he snaps back. He says, we just don't got the money to replace them. That is true. I mean, we have one of the tightest salary caps in all of the NFL. Somehow Brett Veach manages to make money out of nothing every year. So if they really wanted to make it happen, I think they could. It's more of the fact that, do we want to go through all that trouble and make it happen? Yeah.
The bottom line is that some of these humongous defensive contracts are going to have to go, because re-signing Mathieu if they elect to, which they should, and then like you said, bringing maybe bolstering up, bringing in some young guys or more talented guys to back up these safeties or these defensive backs that we have here. So yeah, there's definitely going to be some money moves done on the defense, most definitely.
Yeah, and fortunately on the defense, we've got a lot of rookies playing. Or not rookies, but on rookie contracts. Juan Thornhill's on a rookie contract. Nick Bolton and Willie Gay Jr. Mike Dana's on a rookie contract. And And so that's going to help us moving forward when we are trying to sign guys like Tyrann Mathieu or, and possibly a Frank Clark later on. We're going to see it all off season. There's going to be a ton of like restructuring of contracts. We're going to release. I'd almost be willing to bet that we release Anthony Hitchens this year in the off season just because of his cap hit.
Yep.
And honestly, if we release Anthony Hitchens and we keep Ben Neiman, I might not be a Chiefs fan anymore.
I think I think Ben deserves a spot on the 53-man roster, but I feel like that he belongs backup or third string / special teams.
Yeah, I mean, and he does contribute on special teams, and like I said earlier in the show, Dave Toub kind of has his hands in the roster. Ben Neiman is a Dave Toub guy.
Absolutely.
And so that's just, he's not going anywhere. As much as I hate seeing him on the field, he's not going anywhere, at least anytime soon. Let's see. L'Jarius Sneed, Charvarius Ward, Rashawn Fitton. Are these the most underrated cornerbacks in the league?
I'm a huge critic of L'Jarius Sneed. Not just of Sneed, but of our cornerbacks in general. The Chiefs, ever since that wasted project of Sean Smith a few years ago, the Chiefs they haven't, Marcus Peters, Sean Smith, Marcus Peters, they haven't bolstered those cornerbacks the way I feel like they should have. But we've just accentuated the positives and hid the negatives for so long now that, those cornerbacks don't need to look good. But L'Jarius Sneed is starting to look a lot better.
Yeah. And speaking of L'Jarius Sneed, I need everyone that's watching this, if you're watching it live, go make sure that you follow Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk. I've got this 8x10 of L'Jarius Sneed signed autograph right there. You can't really see it much, but it is certified on the back. I'm giving this bad boy away. We're going to figure out some sort of raffle or something in order to give this away. I haven't figured it out yet, but the only way you can find out is if you watch the show. So don't miss a show and go follow the page so you never miss a show. All right. Also, on top of that, I got some Neil Smith 8x10s that we're going to give away. And we're working on a couple more giveaways. So just go follow the page, and you can possibly be the winner of one of those. Derek Stitch says, I would kind of like to see us sign Jalen Smith. The same Jalen Smith that's been cut twice this year. Is that the Jalen Smith we're talking about here, Stitchamania? I don't see that happening, but I think that he used to be good, and I don't know what happened. He was an incredible prospect, and maybe Brett Veach has a hard on for him. He loves former early round prospects that didn't make it. I just don't see it happening. He's been cut twice this year from two different teams, and I think he's at the end of his NFL career. I might be wrong. I'm not a scout or anything. That's just my opinion. That's the one, he says. What's your thoughts on Jalen Smith, Chase?
I mean, I would normally agree with you on it, but I mean, we've seen so many guys, like you were saying, that didn't work out, that didn't amount to much or wasn't going to look like they were going to amount to much. And we've seen them get picked up, especially by this team, not just other teams in the NFL, but especially by this Chiefs team. And they're able to do something with them. You know, my thing is if it's a low risk, absolutely low risk, high reward. Why not?
Sure.
I'll give you one better. I don't know if I'm going to regret saying this or not, but I think I'd rather see them like where we are now with the offensive weapons that we have right now. I think I would rather see the Chiefs pick up Jalen Smith than Odell Beckham.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. that's tough. Look, if we look back at Brett Veach's recent projects, DeAndre Baker, Mike Hughes, we kind of start to see the success rate of these projects that he has.
Yeah.
Do we bring him in? Am I down to bring him in for a workout and see if maybe we can bolster the back end of our roster? I'm down with that. The same with Odell Beckham Jr. It's not going to hurt to take a look.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt. Do I think it's going to happen? No, that's just my thoughts, my opinion, but it's not going to hurt either. Even if we do sign him and he doesn't work out, well, at least we tried. At least they care enough to try,
Agreed.
And obviously the Chiefs still see themselves as contenders, being buyers at the trade deadline,
Yeah.
So could I see it? Maybe, but I just don't think it will. What about Desean Jackson? We heard any word on Desean Jackson?
I have not. Speaking of words, I did hear that Kyle Long has been activated.
Yes, I wanted to talk about that tonight. I think OBJ is going to Green Bay. Last thing I heard, it was between the Saints,
the Patriots, right?
Yeah, the Saints, the Patriots, and the Chiefs. So, I have not heard anything on OBJ going to Green Bay. I did see a meme with him in a Green Bay jersey or something like that, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Kyle Long. I kind of thought that Kyle Long was they had him on the IR, right? I think that they kept him on the IR this whole time so he didn't take up a roster spot.
Well, is it the IR or do they call it something different? Or I think the list
pup list.
The pup list, physically unable to perform list.
Yeah, that's what it was, and I think they kept him on there so they didn't have to, take up a roster spot. Well, now we're down Lucas Niang and Mike Rimmers. Got Andrew Wiley, who's naturally a guard, kicking out to the right tackle, and all of a sudden Kyle Long's able to perform again.
Yep.
It's just weird how that worked out.
Well,
but as far as that goes, I think that's going to be huge. Like I said, Andrew Wiley's not a tackle; he's a guard, and it's a whole new world out there on the end. So with Kyle Long having more
experience,
Kyle Long's a guard as well, but he has more experience out there. I think that would be a good plus. Well, man, I think that does it for us tonight. Any closing thoughts? Anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, I think I think this last game that we had was a little lackluster on offense, but we know why. It's things that they need to figure out on the offensive end and on Mahomes' end, and hopefully, knock on wood, we're moving past these Mahomes struggles.
Yeah. I think we're trending in the right direction, and I'm trying to be optimistic as a fan, that we are trending in the right direction. We saw a little sample of vintage Mahomes, and I think if they can just kind of let him play and not corral him so much and just let him perform, he can do it. He can overcome these obstacles. So yeah, look, I think that's it, man. Look, if you guys did check us out tonight live, I appreciate you. Like I said before, go hit that share button. We love having you guys on here and bring the comments and whatnot into it. Chase, buddy, I appreciate you hanging out. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Trying to build up this legendary community that we've got going. Chase Riley has been incredible help with that. So, if you haven't gone and liked his page, go check it out. Go like his page. You can find it right there, Facebook, C. Riley Sports. All right, man. Well, that does it for me. That do it for you?
I think so. A little weird doing this on a Wednesday night, or are we looking at getting back to Tuesday nights, or how we want to do this?
So normally it is a little weird doing it on Wednesday night. If you haven't been to Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk, go check it out. I have events on there that we share. We get on here every Tuesday night at 8:30. I think is when the event's set for 8:30 every Tuesday night. And we'd love to see you guys there. We would absolutely love it. It just makes it that much more fun when we can get all these comments, and you go and you look at all these comments, and we love to interact with you guys. So this is Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk. It's kind of like a hangout spot. We come here and we talk Chiefs, So, all right, man. Well, with that, we are done. It was a pleasure. I will see you guys next time, next Tuesday at 8:30 Central Standard Time. And as always, stay legendary, my friends.